Hey everyone, this is Jeff Mazzeo, CMO at Scitara, coming to you here with another video. A couple of things I want to focus on today. Number one, I wanted to give you a business update on Scitara. And number two, I wanted to talk a little bit about our experience to date with enterprise customer with regard to what makes customers able to accelerate deployment of our technology relative to other customers. In other words, what's really important to help customers scale in the experience that we've had at Scitara. So first off, the great news is that our business right now at Scitara is booming. We had an incredibly strong first half of 2025. We've signed up numerous enterprise accounts. And when I say enterprise accounts, what I mean is very large pharmaceutical firms. Um, and these firms have multiple sites around the globe. Um, and we're in the process of working with them to starting to deploy our technology across those sites. So it's a great time to be at Scitara. Super exciting. And if you're considering Scitara, there's never been a better time, right? We're super busy and we got a lot going on, and we're gaining a lot of experience about laboratory integration and how to take advantage of our technology. And so that brings me to the second topic, which is what have we learned so far as we work with some of these enterprise accounts over the last year or so? What have we learned as being critical to success in order for these accounts to minimize the time to value of our technology? In other words, the faster they can deploy our technology in their labs, the faster they're going to achieve the value and the ROI that our technology offers. So I wanted to cover four things related to that. The first thing that we've experienced, again, for customers that are deploying our technology the fastest and that are being the most successful, is that they are characterized by having an empowered, centralized IT team that has a strategic mandate for laboratory digitalization. That is clearly the number one item of the four. It all starts there. These are teams that have worked closely with their business colleagues. They've aligned on a strategy and why they're doing laboratory integration and digitalization. And they then focus on the execution of that. And so that's as I said, that's the number one thing that we see with our customers who are scaling the fastest. Number two, and related to that, is that those IT teams again have worked with their business colleagues to determine what's the prioritization for integration. In other words, what's the asset class that we want to start with? What are the sites that we want to start with, et cetera? They've had a clear roadmap that's defined over the next, several years, whatever it plays out to, about how they're going to get their labs completely integrated and digitalized. And they've done that in conjunction with their business colleagues. That's the second most important thing. Um, the third thing that I would mention is that it's absolutely critical that the individual sites have resources that are allocated to our project, because there is a lot of work that needs to be done on the site level to deploy our technology. There needs to be resources available at the sites, people that work in the laboratories, people that work in OT, et cetera. They need to be available for help in the program. And then the fourth and final thing that I would mention as critical to success for scaling is that, one of the things we do at these projects is we run a very structured governance process. And what we found is that customers who scale the fastest have strong participation from leadership on both the IT side as well as on the business side. Those leaders actively participate in the governance meetings. And when bottlenecks are identified or issues are identified, they use their position in the organization to address those bottlenecks. Absolutely essential to scale. So again, to summarize the four things that I mentioned in terms of what's required in order to scale rapidly and get time to value as quickly as possible. Number one, you need an empowered IT team with a strategic mandate. Number two, that team needs to be aligned with the business on the priority for integration, where to start with. Number three, the individual sites need to be actively engaged and resources need to be allocated to the project. And number four, the leadership of both IT and the business needs to actively participate in the governance meetings and use their position in the organization to help us to address bottlenecks. Um, all the customers that we're working with that are scaling fast, they all have these four things in common, which is really important for us. As I said, we're signing up more and more customers, so we've really got to be sure that these customers are efficient and that we're working together to get our technology deployed as quickly as possible. So once again, this is Jeff Mazzeo, CMO at Scitara. Thanks as always for listening, and until the next video, I'll speak to you soon.